So I'll wait for a few questions to come in, and then I'll start answering them. Daniel, Francisco, come to the Black Belt group. I linked it below. That's where I'm gonna be answering questions. So don't ask them on the official Kevin David page. What up, Rochelle? All right. All right, so here we go. Starting to get some questions now. It looks like my stream quality is extremely low. Looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. You guys, come to the Black Belt group. I'm gonna just keep posting this in here until all of my full course students actually come and ask me questions in the right place. What up, Brandon? What up, Emily? What up, Tatiana? All right, guys, I'm gonna answer a few questions on YouTube while people sign on. Miami's most swaggest. That realtor Doug, Brancresa, Mr. Fitch, Kevin, Shalom. Have you ever had to give a freight forwarder the HS code for the products? No, I haven't, but I've actually heard recently about some anti-dumping stuff. I'm not sure if I'm not sure how that's going to affect people, but now China's kind of like environmental council is starting to get a little bit more strict. So they normally it's good to like kind of have your freight forwarder be aware of that type of thing, but anti-dumping laws for specific stuff like aluminum foil and like some types of like chemicals and magnets and things are getting a little bit more strict, and so you have to pay additional tariffs on certain products. I don't know much about it, to be honest. I literally just learned about it from one of my students yesterday, but some major changes are happening from a manufacturing perspective. Basically, so you guys should be checking in with your freight forwarders about anti-dumping tariffs and just making sure you're not going to get hit with anything. What's up, Amit? What's up, Edwards? Good to see all of you guys. Does viral launch help you get to the first page? I mean, yeah, they do. I mean, I have a couple better services that are a little bit more kind of personalized that are available to my students, where people are actually, targeting, where your launch service is targeting manual key phrases, right? Because viral launch uses like their big group, right? And they kind of just like do 95% off and people just buy it and you get that BSR boost. But the best way to launch products, as any of my students know, or people who follow my channel and stuff, is doing manual launches, right? So instead of just giving a link and saying, here, buy this at 95% off, you get the BSR boost, but you're not getting the keyword rank, right? And so the best way to launch a product is somebody typing in stainless steel jumbo garlic press into the search bar, seeing your product somewhere on page 1 or whatever page it's on, clicking through to it naturally through searching that key phrase, and then Amazon's like, okay, let's assign some organic keyword weight and rank to this specific key phrase for this product, and that is when you start to like rank organically for all these different key phrases, and that is when you start to get those organic sales. Can you create several listings in the same category or in different categories with the same inventory? Is that allowed? No, because your inventory is assigned one barcode, so you have to be you can really only do it there. I'm gonna jump over to the Black Belt group, see if there's any questions here. I do see people are still commenting on the official Kevin David page, so I'll just keep posting the Black Belt group there. What's up, Sarah? What's up, Roll? What's up, Charles? There's a ton of comments in the Kevin David group. There's 42 people watching there. Don't watch there. Watch in the Black Belt group, please. How many sessions are you getting per listing? Thank you, Kevin. Learning a lot here. I mean, that's kind of a difficult question to ask, right? Because I have some products that sell 10 a day, and they're converting at an incredibly high rate because it's a very low competition niche. And then I have products that are incredibly competitive, you know, where we're getting a ton more sessions, but we're getting a much lower click-through rate and conversion percentage because there's so many, there's so many options out there that sometimes somebody might just want a different product based on a picture, or maybe it has an additional feature, or, you know, whatever the case is. Where do I get started for someone who doesn't have any experience, or do you have any personal tips that you wish you knew when you first started FBA? Yeah, I mean, I get this question a lot, and the answer to this question is you want to spread your risk, right? Too often I see people just jumping into one product without doing their due diligence, right? There's a ton of different metrics you want to look at from a data perspective at the beginning. People jump in and they get 5,000 units of one product, right? And then all of a sudden they realize it's not selling and they're, SOL. The best thing to do is to launch, instead of launching one product with 5,000 units, you'd rather launch 50 products with 100 units. You know what I mean? You want to spread your risk, dip your toes into a bunch of different niches, and you want to choose the products that you buy small quantities of. Some of them are going to work really well. Some of them are going to work less well. Whichever ones work well, you reorder quickly. You get those products back in. If you have to air freight, even if you're breaking even on them, it's okay, right? And then the ones that are selling poorly or requiring too much work or whatever the case may be, you just let those sell out, get rid of the inventory, don't replenish, right? And then you basically had a much smaller risk, much more leverage, and then much more ability to kind of focus on what's making you the most money with the least amount of effort. Do you do affiliate marketing? Kunal, yeah, I do. I have a video I just made on affiliate marketing actually on my YouTube channel. Some of my students were making 30 grand or more profit in a week or two affiliate marketing my course. So I decided to make an affiliate marketing video. I'm kind of a beginner could watch the video I made about affiliate marketing and become intermediate to advanced almost immediately. Right? There's a lot of different little aspects to affiliate marketing. In my opinion, the two strongest methods are YouTube, creating like a review or some type of video expose or your opinion or a sneak peek or whatever of that product, so people are interested, right? They want to see like a little bit more, or they want to hear about it from a third-party perspective to kind of get that social proof. And the second method is Facebook advertising, right? You can get super creative. Facebook advertising is really an art. I will be making a Facebook ad video, and this is going to be the best Facebook ad video you guys have ever seen, I promise. People always ask me, is there anything better than Amazon FBA? And I know Facebook, if not better, then equally as well as Amazon FBA. So I hope you guys are going to really love this Facebook ads video that I'm going to release tomorrow. It'll be good enough, I promise you guys, to make even a complete beginner at Facebook advertising into at least an intermediate to an expert level. I promise you can go from beginner to expert with one video. You just have to make sure you understand every single portion that I'm talking about. And I did a write-up for you guys for Facebook ads, just in case it's easy. Some people learn better through writing, so I wanted to make kind of a cheat sheet that I will also include in the Facebook video. So I hope you guys will like it because I spent a crap load of time on it. Hi from Virginia Beach. My best friend's actually flying to Virginia Beach tomorrow. That's funny. The Barcodes TV. Hola, Kevin. What's up, man? Can you tell me if having a VA for product research is a good idea? If so, do you recommend Upwork or Online Jobs? OnlineJobs.ph is so greedy now. I don't use them anymore. I recommend Upwork. And, doing product research is such an important aspect of your business that I would never want a VA to do it personally. All right, I'm jumping back into the black belt group, guys. So anyone who's on the official Kevin David page, I'm gonna paste the black belt group one more time. So come into the black belt group. And I'm gonna jump into the black belt group until we run out of questions there, and then I'll come back to YouTube if we still have any time left. So to follow up that question, does your super URL have the same impact as searching the keywords, or would searching the keyword be more effective? Daniel, there's no more effective way than someone searching a keyword into the Amazon search bar, stainless steel jumbo garlic press. But the problem is when you're first starting out launching a product, you're not on page 1. You're on page like 20, right? And so most reviewers and review groups are not going to scroll all the way to page 20 to find your product and then click it, right? That's the problem. But if it's friends and family, if you're going that route, the most effective way, mark my words here, I'm 100% sure about this, guys, the most effective way to launch a product and get ranked quickly is by having, somebody who's willing to help you type in your main keyword, scroll all the way to page 20 or wherever you're at when you first launch, buy your specific product. You'll jump from page 20 to page 10. If you have a few more people do it, right, you can very quickly get to page 1 that way, but you have to have people who are not affiliated with you at all, or Amazon's going to flag you, for friends and family reviewing, and you have to have somebody who's willing to actually scroll through to whatever page you're on for that main keyword to buy your product. What if you do viral launch with the new super URL? Would that be better? You mean the super URL that they use, Amit, or the super URL that I shared with you guys, the new one that actually works? I'll move on and then just answer that below. How many keywords do you target when doing a launch? So I usually like to target as few keywords as possible, right? Because you could do your whole title and then it would come up, your product would come up first every time. But the problem with that is you get like a smaller amount of weight for each keyword rather than like the maximum amount of weight for the highest volume keyword. Because think about it logically. Your customers are finding your product 90% of the time from the main highest volume keyword. So that is the keyword that you want to rank for, right? So if you have friends or family, or if you have people in the black belt group, right, other students who are willing to go the extra mile for you, the most effective way to gain rank quickest for your highest volume keyword is having people type in just that one highest volume keyword, finding you on whatever page you're on naturally, right? Going to the next page, buying your product, and then as you jump up, people will have to scroll less pages, right? And they'll find you quicker, and then you can literally get to page 1 if you have enough unaffiliated people willing to do that for you in 3 days. Hey Kev, I keep doing manual PPC with taught phrases and no sales. Do I raise my bid or do automatic campaigns instead? So are you getting clicks, Aaron? I mean, I need to know a little bit more about it, right? Are you doing the low bid method? Have you optimized your backend keywords to 250 characters using the method that I just taught about how to make sure that your backend keywords are perfect by cheating and using the person in first organic position 1 using their backend keywords as your own. So answer below. I'll move on. What's the status on Spanish version of the course? My wife and Chilean friends are ready for it. Actually, I have a very, very close friend who is considering translating the course to Spanish for me. I actually just finished the German version of the course, so I'm just kind of waiting now to launch it. I have to create like a German landing page and German things like that. So it's coming, Amit, eventually, but it's I have a lot of things to do, so we'll see what happens. Hypothetically, can I make a title for a product irrelevant to what the product is and still successfully target and rank for that keyword? I mean, why would you want to make your title irrelevant? Elliot, I'm confused. But I mean, yeah, it's possible you could still rank for it, but your title is assigned the most weight from a keyword perspective of all of your different keywords on your listing, right? So it goes title has the most weight, it's the most important, back-end keywords, and then your bullet points, and then your description. So it's like 50%, 30%, 15%, 5%, or something like that. So, you wouldn't want to make your title irrelevant, but hypothetically it is possible, yeah. Hey Kev, can we add a variation to an existing listing if we did not create it with variations? So you can make 2 different listings, you can combine them into a variation. I don't know if you can add a variation directly to an existing listing. You might have to make a separate listing and then merge them. All right, I've been hearing about the power of email lists. It seems that it is very beneficial for brands that have a niche of products versus several different random products. Do you think it's worth attempting to build an email list when selling many different items under one general brand? If so, how would you go about building a list for these unrelated products? So building a list, Ron, is the single most important thing you can possibly do for your brand. Whether you have a digital product, whether you have a physical product, whether you're creating some type of membership program, it does not matter at all. Email marketing is the most important thing that you can do for your brand. if you have a bunch of different, completely separate products, right? You're selling a basketball, you're selling a garlic press, you're selling a yoga mat. It doesn't matter as much, right? Because when you build your list, you're building your list of people who are interested in a niche of products. So it's like, think Nike, right? People who are interested in running shoes might also be interested in running shorts, who might also be interested in running bands, or something like that, right? So when you're building email lists, it's costing money up front. You're not seeing any return immediately, right? But don't be greedy. The people who are making a ton of money are spending a shitload of time and a shitload of money on creating their email list with absolutely no return for that investment right away, right? They're making money downstream marketing. They're making money, on upsells. They're making money on flash sales. They're making money, down the line. So don't at all think that, okay, I just spent $1,000 on an email list and now I have nothing to show for it. That's not how it works. It's the single most important thing you can possibly do if you have a related brand with, camping chairs and camping hammocks and camping stoves. That's when you want to build an email list, not when you have, a ton of different products that are completely non-related, because then your email list isn't targeted. They're getting emails they're not interested in, right? And they'll just unsubscribe. Love the video you did on optimizing a listing to the upcoming 250 character limit. Since you did it on a product that was already indexing on keywords, would you advise when you're first launching a product and you're trying to create the backend keywords? What would you advise? My method was using merchant words, reverse ASIN search the top competitor's listing, and then use keyword indexer on that huge master list of keywords that I put together. Yeah, of course, Daniel. That's part one of that module, right? What you just described is the part one. Part two is now that they are actually implementing that 250 character limit, you have to narrow down from that larger, that master list of deduplicated words that you had created. You have to be really careful in the selection of which of those words you actually use now, right? So the only difference and the only reason that I'm cheating and looking at organic position 1 is I want to see what Amazon says are the most important keywords, right? Because if they're ranking number 1 for the highest volume key search or key phrase search, then I want to make sure that I am fulfilling all of what A9, the most definitive source on keywords, is saying is the most related. So it's part 2 of what we talked about. Part 1 is creating that master list of deduplicated words to kind of satisfy all of the different index combinations. But now that we're restricted to 250 characters, right, you have to be a little bit more, you have to use a little bit more thought with which ones you're actually finalizing in your backend. Hey Kev, so if I started mass production on my product a few days ago, do you think I'll make it on FBA before Q4 lockout? If so, would I have to ship by air or could I ship by sea? How long will it take to do both? So as of right now, Roman, I'd say I'm about 90% sure, based on talking to a ton of different people, right? People that work at Amazon, customer service reps, other, kind of influencers and Amazon people in the space. I'm 90% sure that the Q4 lockout this year is only applying to the toys and games section, right? And so if I'm wrong, then everyone don't come back and kill me, right? But I would say that that's the most likely scenario. I'm still recommending, since Amazon is very unpredictable, I'm still recommending that people try to airship 1 carton of their product into an Amazon FBA warehouse just to be safe. But I'm 90% sure that there's going to be no Q4 lockout this year except for the toys and games strategy category. Is there info in the course on how to merge 2 listings to create and link that second variation? No, there's not, Robert, but just message me and I'll help you figure it out. It basically just look on your home screen and go to add a variation, and then you'll see different categories of what you can choose. There's one that says like merge 2 listings. There's one that says like create like a parent and child relationship or something like that. So just message me and we'll get it figured out. I see that you guys in the official Kevin David group are still asking questions. Lee, Ajit, Karen, go click that link that I just posted, and I'll ask questions in the Black Belt group, and I promise I'll get to them that way. Does anything like SimilarWeb exist to see where an Amazon listing is getting traffic from? Yeah, so me and Elliot were actually trying to figure out a way to do that yesterday, to try to see, what specific online sources are driving traffic to an Amazon listing. But the problem is SimilarWeb and BuzzSumo and things like that use the actual domain itself, not the the product listings and the subdomains and things like that. It's just literally for the overarching domain, which would be Amazon.com. So I haven't figured out a way to see exactly where traffic is coming to an Amazon listing yet. But if I ever do figure it out, obviously you guys will all be the first to know. Shout out, we stocked out 10 days ago and your strategy works. It only took 3 days to get back to top 2 to 3 organic rank. Yeah, so I mean, I've tested this a number of times. People have told me I'm wrong. People will always tell me I'm wrong. But, the things that I'm saying are based on data that I've iteratively tested. It's not like I'm just pulling it out of my butt, right? So when you are about to stock out, do not raise your price to some insane level, right, to try to prevent yourself from stocking out, because that's going to make your BSR worse and worse and worse as you're getting less and less sales because your product's more and more expensive. Just let yourself stock out naturally. Keep your BSR as high as it was and it always has been, right? Restock try as hard as you can to restock within 15 days, and you'll jump back pretty much right to where you were. You might have to run a little product giveaway or a little, something just to kind of give yourself that initial momentum again, but you will come in at a much stronger area, closer to where you left when you did stock out. For product research, if there are 3 listings doing over 15K and low reviews, but then the rest are doing little to none, is it worth looking deeper into the product? I mean, is it the same seller? Do they have a patent? Do they have a trademark on like the actual key phrase that people are searching, like Kevlar or something like that? Peter, I'm not sure. I'd need to look into it a little bit closer. But I mean, if they have super low reviews, then you might have found a really good one, right? And if they have a commonality of why people are leaving bad reviews, like maybe like a design flaw, or they think it's missing something, then maybe it's a perfect place for you to jump in. But feel free to message me and we can talk about it more specifically, because I don't know for sure with just that little amount of data. What is a good size of an email list to start with? I built a small targeted email list of 600 in the niche I'm going in, and I'm planning to launch my next product to this list. Is 600 a big enough list to launch a new product to? Karen, I mean, that's amazing. 600 is awesome, right? Like when I started my Amazon FBA Ninjas group, it started with 0, right? It started with 0 people. And now it has 30,000, right? So if you're putting out quality content and you're selling a quality product and you have a quality company, right? You have quality customer service, an email list of 1 person is better than an email list of 0. So don't ever think that 600 people is a small list, right? Just keep working, keep grinding, start today, right? Start building an email list today, and you'll have more people on that email list than you had, you'll have more people tomorrow than you had today. So just start now. Never, ever, ever put it off, because you're like, there's people out there who have a 1 million person email list. And yeah, that's true, but they started at 0 as well. So start today. 600 is great, Karen. So keep grinding. That's awesome. I'm having a heck of a time getting AMS. Vendor Express didn't work. Is there any other way? Zeus, are you living in another country other than the USA? Because we have a number of students who've figured out little hacks using creating a postal address using companies for like $10 a month to create an AMS account, and then just stopping paying it because AMS really only checks once and then you have access. But if you are brand registered and have access to headline ads now, you really don't even need AMS anymore. I mean, if you have access to headline ads, which a lot of people who are brand registered now do have access to via just the normal Seller Central interface, you don't have to have AMS anymore if you're brand registered. Right? If you are brand registered, I don't even think AMS is worth the headache anymore. Just use the headline ads because it's the best part of AMS anyways. There are any good traffic method outside Amazon? Taihi, could you please clarify what you mean by that below? I'll move on and then I'll answer it again. I placed an order for 1,000 total units, 4 variations, 250 each. Do you think this is a good enough quantity for first order to launch / giveaway promotional period? The top 10 listings are selling between 10 and 50 units per day. Well, I mean, if they're selling 50 units a day, then you'll stock out in 5 days, Ron, right? But if they're selling 10, then you'll stock out in 25 days. Either way, that's still probably not enough units, as assuming that all 4 of your variations would sell at least 10 a day. Right, so you have to do the research and figure out how many units are selling per day. Let's say that it's selling 10 per day, right? And it takes you 45 days from the from the time they start manufacturing to get it into an Amazon FBA warehouse, right? So you want to have enough stock to satisfy that 45-day period, right? So by the time you're about to stock out, you've already ordered and it arrives at Amazon, right? So you want to give yourself enough stock to stay in stock for the duration of your manufacturer lead time, your ship time, and you want to give yourself a couple days for inspections and things like that, right? So if it's selling 10 per day and your lead time from the second you start manufacturing all the way into Amazon is 45 days, you want at least 45 times 10 or 450 units, and you want to give yourself probably 30 extra just for giveaways and for all the things that go wrong. So I would recommend 480 in that hypothetical scenario I just proposed. So you kind of have to do the math yourself on it. I placed my brand name in my title. Is that a waste because of the keyword search? It is the first part of my title. So, I mean, this is an interesting topic that I actually get asked all the time. And I am a personal believer that on Amazon, people don't really care about your brand unless they do, right? So unless you're Nike or unless your brand name itself is a selling point, right? You've built such a strong reputation in your niche that your brand name itself is a selling point. People are specifically searching for it. That is when I would recommend putting your brand name at the front of your title. If you aren't to that stage yet, right? If you're not to that stage, then then I would not recommend putting your title or putting your brand name at the front of your title at all. Could you briefly explain the difference with keyword terms such as long tail, back end, front end, high converting? Thanks. So long tail keyword is the difference between garlic press is just 2 words. It's kind of vague. Like you could have a small garlic press, you could have a large garlic press. A long tail keyword would be like, pink jumbo garlic press travel size or something like that. Like very specific. It's usually a 3, 4, 5, or even 5 or more words describing it in a very specific way. When I say back-end keywords, I mean literally the keywords, the 250 characters that you're putting in the back end of your product listing, right? This is where you put all of the different keywords that populate for automatic campaigns, right? This is what you're using Keyword Index Checker for, to see, which keywords Amazon's A9 algorithm is actually, is associating with your product and deeming relevant based on searches and click-through rates and buys and things like that. Front-end keywords, I don't think I've ever said that, so that's not necessarily something that means anything, but I guess front-end keywords would be like what your title is or something like that, but nobody really says front-end keywords. High converting keywords means that they're profitable, right? So if I'm selling a garlic press and it's a jumbo, jumbo stainless steel garlic press, I'm checking my search term report, right? I'm looking at that specific keyword, and then I'm looking over at my ACOS, right? My ACOS, average cost of sales, and I'm saying to myself, okay, my profit margin is 40% after all my costs getting it to an Amazon FBA warehouse. I have a 40% profit margin at this price, and if my ACOS is 40% or lower, then that's a profitable, high-converting keyword. Is a product viable and lucrative if we can provide more value with marketing, Facebook ads, ebook, and more sexy product descriptions? For example, a #1 seller with bad copy and no Facebook ads. I mean, it's not the most important thing, Francisco. You want a product that you want a product niche that has a competitive landscape that you can enter into, without killing yourself, right? You want to see less than half of the people on page 1 to have more than 100 reviews. So if there's 10 people on page 1, 5 of those people have less than 100 reviews, 5 of them have 150, 200. That is an okay that's an okay competitive landscape that you would want to enter. If you see page 1 for the highest volume keyword and you see 10 people, they have 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 8,000 reviews. It's going to take you years and a ton of money and all of this time and effort and expense to rank onto that page 1, right? So that's not what you'd want to enter. Ebooks are almost never a competitive differentiator, right? If there's a product and it has great reviews, it's selling great, it's on page 1, but they don't have an ebook, and you say to yourself, if I added an ebook, could I outcompete this person? The answer is no, absolutely not. It's not a competitive differentiator that is going to change someone's mind if they already see, a very well designed listing with a a cheap product with a ton of good reviews, but it doesn't have an ebook. So don't think to yourself, if I add an ebook, it'll overtake it. And most of your advertising is going to be done on Amazon, right? Not necessarily Facebook, but for certain product niches like tactical flashlights or novelty stuff or things that sell well on Facebook, right? You're not going to be selling commodities or everyday items like toilet paper on Facebook. Nobody's going to buy toilet paper from a Facebook ad, right? So if you have a correct type of product and you figure out a clever way, using audience insights or using some type of Facebook targeting methodology that no one else has thought of before, that could be a competitive differentiator. But that's not how I would suggest coming at product research with that mentality. How is a product in multiple categories? Is that even possible? Yeah, so it is possible. So back in the day when I first started Amazon FBA, you could actually trick Amazon by creating dual subnodes, what's called subnodes or subcategories, right? You could create it in the back end of your listing, but they shut that down, and now they only allow you to pick one subnode for your product. So if you want to be, home and kitchen, glassware, diningware, or whatever, then you could choose that, but that's only your single node, right? But there's a caveat to that where Amazon, if you get enough searches from a different category where people are actually scrolling to a different category other than glassware, somewhere else in kitchen, but they're still buying your product, these customers, enough people are saying, okay, even though we're in this other category, we're still buying your product. Amazon says, okay, enough times, if enough people are buying your product from two different categories, they are the only ones who can do it now. They will assign you a dual node, and so they'll put your product in two categories, and so you kind of get twice the exposure. But unfortunately, we can't do it ourselves, or at least I haven't figured out how to yet. Hey Kev, how many hours of research would you say that it takes you to find a product worth launching, and how much do you typically look to net per month to make that product worthwhile? When I was first starting, I probably spent 60 hours finding my product, like seriously, or more, maybe even 100. Because when you're first starting, it can be very frustrating, right? Because there's so many little nuances. Like when I was first starting, I think I found lockpick sets, right? Because lockpick sets are incredible, right? Or like neodymium magnets are incredible from a numbers perspective. They have very low reviews, right? Doing a ton of money every single month. But, if you don't know enough, or you don't have a coach or mentor or someone to talk to who's kind of been through that, you wouldn't know that lockpicks and neodymium magnets are actually gated. And, I've seen people come on these Facebook groups and say, you guys, I just ordered like 1,000 units of these lockpick sets and Amazon shut down my listing. It's like, oh, that sucks. But, that's why it's so important to join a community, right? To have people who've been through these things before, like whether it's a coach or a mentor or someone you find on a Facebook group, it doesn't matter. Try to find someone who's more experienced than you and, talk to them about this type of stuff, because there's so many complexities of Amazon, right, that you need to have somebody who has a little bit more experience, or else you could get burned at any different section, like all of these different things. Like, some people don't know that you have to have made in China printed on your box, and you might get stopped at Chinese customs. You might not know about gated categories. There's just so many things, and, having people to help you and having a community of like-minded people, like our Black Belt group for all the students, right, for people to help you with reviews and all of these different things is just it's the most important resource. And the reason that I was able to start off FBA in a successful way was that I created that mastermind of people, all these other successful sellers that I was bugging on all these different larger groups. I made a small mastermind, and it grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and all these successful sellers, and we were helping each other, right, and learning all these cool things from each other. So it's very important. To answer the second part of your question, I typically look to net, you want to be making $100 profit per day or more. So if you're making $100 profit per day times 30 days, that's $3,000 profit. That is kind of like what I was starting out as my goal. Now my goal is a little bit higher. It's probably around, between 5,000 and 10,000 profit per month per product. If you can make 5,000 profit per month per product, that starts to scale very quickly, right? Because once you get to 10 products, all of a sudden that's $50,000 profit per month. And when you multiply that by 12, right, that's $600,000 profit per year, which is a reasonable amount to live on. Very reasonable. I know you're supposed to pay suppliers sample fees and 30% via PayPal goods and service, but what's the best way to pay the other 70%? Should we do it via Alibaba or Wire? So the way you want to, I want to say something specifically about this, Karan. You want to pay suppliers and samples fees via PayPal goods and services with a credit card, right? Not just goods and services. You want to pay with a credit card, goods and services on PayPal, right? Those are the keys, right? Because then you have 2 layers of protection in case they decide to screw you, because you can either submit a dispute on PayPal and you can also dispute it on your credit card. The best way to pay the 70%, really, I mean, it's not a ton of risk, right? Because you're only ever paying that 70% after you have a past inspection, right? After you have a past inspection. So that means, that your units are made, the quality is there, and then there's not much risk paying that 70% because, it's incredibly unlikely for anything weird to happen after a past inspection. So I usually just pay by wire transfer. It's the cheapest way for both me and the manufacturer, and everyone's happy. What is the absolute lowest margin I should consider when launching my first product? I mean, I don't know if that's the way I would want to think about it, John. I would think about, what is the absolute best profit margin I could find when launching my first product. But I guess to answer your question, the lowest I would even consider is like 33% probably. But I'd be much more inclined to launch a product that has 50, 60, 65%. Between 50 and 65% is where I like to find my products. Have you ever tried to bundle products from suppliers in different countries? It was something I stumbled upon in your Amazon FBA Ninja group, but it seems easier to keep bundling products in one country to keep things less complicated. Yeah, so one of my friends and associates in my mastermind actually sources a single product, the wooden packaging, the product itself, and the inserts from 3 different countries, from I think it's Vietnam, China, and India. He has it all sent to his freight forwarder in the USA, and they package it all, finalize it for him, get it ready for Amazon, and then send it into Amazon. So that's the best way to do it if you want, but it is a lot of logistics, and it's usually like a 60 to 70 day lead time just because there's so many different things that have to happen, and it's much slower to ship things out of India for the most part. I've been trying to save my old listing. It slid to page 15 last week. I gave away 15 units the last 2 days using the new storefront super URL. This morning I checked when I was on page 4, but this afternoon it went back to page 15. I'm at BSR 5,000 now, but all the other people on page 15 are much lower. Huh. So, Karen, I haven't often heard of a jump like that back and forth so quickly. I think it might be an error getting back on page 15, but that being said, really to solidify your place onto page 1, Amazon's ranking algorithms kind of update every 7 days, right? So my recommendation to everyone is to get on page 1. You kind of have to maintain that giveaway for about 7 days. If you want to get to page 1 for sure, you have to give away, in a very targeted method using keywords, you have to give away products for about 7 days, 1 to 2 more per day than the people selling on page 1. So that's kind of the only way to guarantee that it happens. But we can talk about that more specifically afterwards. The lock picks. Yeah, I know. That would be the worst thing ever, right? Like you jump into it, you're super stoked, you've watched all this information, right? You're doing everything right. The lock picks look great, but you don't have a mentor or someone who's been there before to tell you, don't do lock picks. Don't do neodymium magnets, right? You will get your listing suspended. You will have invested all that time and money and orchestration, and then all of a sudden you can't sell it, and you're out of luck. I have about 6K to start with, 1 product, and no money issues on reorder. Have 6K to start with, 1 product, and have no money issues on reorder, or go with 2 products and possibly have an issue with money on reorder. Definitely 2 products. In this specific case, Lee, I always say this. Why would you rather have money rotting in your bank? If you have enough money to live for 3 months, keep an emergency fund. But otherwise, right, invest that money. If you can get a 40, 50, 60% return on your investment, that's so much better than the 1% you get leaving it in a checking account or a savings account, right? So don't worry about the money. 6K is enough for you to launch 2 products successfully. Definitely, right? And so use that 6K, do your due diligence on both products, be sure about each, get them both in, and you're going to be earning money back quickly from those products, right? Reinvest that earnings and that profit back into more inventory for those 2 products, and then if you have any left over, launch a 3rd. That's kind of the iteration of Amazon FBA, right? Are there other sourcing sites instead of Alibaba or 1688? Yeah, there are. Alibaba has different country websites too, so you can see like like Alibaba Vietnam or Alibaba India are two that I've used before. And then in the USA, there's also ThomasNet, right? So ThomasNet is a good way to, if you want to source a smaller amount of products, right? Like if you only want 100 products and everyone in China is saying, 500s are MOQ, 500s are MOQ, whatever. Go to ThomasNet, say I want to order a 100 unit test order. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. You are going to save money on shipping, right? Because you're not shipping it from China, you're shipping it from the USA to the USA. And then launch 10 different products that way with 100 units each, rather than 1,000 units of one product from China, and then take the winners, reinvest, drop the losers, and it's a great way to kind of be able to test a lot of different things at once with very little investment. Is the only way to find shipping costs by talking with the supplier/freight forwarder, or is there a site or some way to estimate based on dimensions and weight? That's a great question, John. There's not a great resource. So if any developers out there are watching this, make that, because it would be super useful and I would pay for it for sure. But shipping costs are one of the most annoying things to estimate. Yeah, but realistically, you have to get an estimate of how many units you have, the dimensions of and number of cartons, right? And once you have that, you can tell, one of our 3 amazing freight forwarders that I do share with all my students, and they'll give you the best possible rate for it, and then you can calculate per unit shipping fees. But as of right now, there's not an amazing way to do that, unfortunately. All right. Sean, Andrew, Rochelle, Narita, come to the Black Belt group. Rochelle, you should just keep posting this link over and over again and direct people to the Black Belt group to ask questions. Because I see a lot of my full course students asking questions in the official Kevin David page, but I'm answering questions in the Black Belt group where all of my full student amazing ninjas are. So come in there and ask questions. If you are in the full group, I promise I'll answer them all there. Just come into the Black Belt group. All right, what percentage do you recommend to spend on packaging? I mean, percentage isn't maybe necessarily how I would describe it, but if you're getting a high quality, glossy, color, white or black box with just your logo and your FN SKU and made in China on it, you can pay 10 to 50 cents per box depending on how many you're getting, right? But boxing manufacturers are the one type of manufacturer that I would say that is very stingy about MOQs. They literally it's not cost effective for them to make 100 boxes. They have to make 1,000, right? Or they have to make 500. So, if you're ordering fewer units, expect to pay 50 cents for a color glossy white box or black box with your logo, FN SKU, and made in China printed on it, at least probably. But if you're ordering more, you can get down to the 10 cents per box range. So, why do people say it's better to bundle something with your product? If it is better and will raise your BSR, can I bundle with someone else's product? I mean, how would you bundle with someone else's product, Roman? Like, you mean like you'd reach out to them and say, like, let's make one super listing? Or you're saying that you just add what they're selling also? Answer it down below, and then I'll follow up. Using that super URL, is it still better to have it contain the main keyword instead of copy and pasting the entire listing heading into it? Yeah, definitely, Jason. I mean, like I was explaining earlier, if you have one main keyword that's the highest volume keyword, that keyword is how you're going to get 90% of your sales organically, right? Because when I'm looking for a garlic press, I'm typing garlic press, right? I'm not typing stainless steel jumbo pink garlic press for the most part, or 95, 98% of people are not typing the long tail keywords, they're typing the main keyword. So what you need to focus all of your effort on is ranking your product for the highest volume, most targeted keyword for your product. That is what you want to spend all of your effort on from a product launch perspective. When you're doing your manual giveaways, when you're using the storefront super URL, right? Do it all from the perspective that you realize that 90% of your organic sales are going to come from your main keyword. In my first product launch, I didn't get enough people who were interested in my giveaways. Is there a way I can find more people to participate in my giveaways so that I can have a successful launch? Deb G, yeah, I mean, use our student group. The best possible resource out there for giveaways, for manual keyword targeted giveaways, is the student group, right? We are a ninja family, right? So don't think that if you share your product, people are going to steal it, right? I've never seen that happen one time in our student group. ever, right? Tell them, this is what I want you to search. It's currently on page 20. Please scroll to page 20. I'll do it for you, right? And if people are buying your product in that way, searching your main highest targeted keyword and then scrolling naturally to where it is and buying it, I guarantee you your product will get to page 1 so much faster than any other method, right? And only people that you're friends with or, in our group or, nice people out there are going to do that for you. But if you have that resource, it's invaluable. If I want to sell a giftable item, should I send it to Amazon as a packaged gift item or should I bundle the product with a gift box packaging? So Amazon itself will actually do the gift wrapping for you. So for my gift products, I do a gift box, right? Just a white glossy or black glossy box with my logo, made in China, my FN SKU on it, right? And I send that into Amazon. And then I take pictures of it with my product photographer. I order the product itself that I'm putting into Amazon. I have a friend order it for me with Amazon gift wrapping, and then I send that gift wrapped box that I created that Amazon gift wraps themselves to my product photographer, and I take pictures of it, with the gift box fully packaged, and then a half package to show my box, and then all the gift wrap all the way down. So I have 3 pictures with my gift box with Amazon's gift wrapping, kind of unwrapping it in 3 sequential pictures, and that's been a huge, huge sales impetus for my products. Thank you, Rochelle. I appreciate it. Should I wait to become an experienced seller before I start a YouTube? No, I mean, YouTube is such an amazing platform. It's so beautiful. It enabled me to pursue my passion, which is helping people, leave the 9-to-5 behind. The only reason that I'm answering 500 Facebook messages a day is because I absolutely love, seeing people pursue their dreams, seeing people quit that awful, disgusting corporate environment. Not everyone, but some people had a terrible corporate life, right? Working 80 hours a week in a dark, dingy conference room that kind of smelled bad, and you didn't really like Jim or Karen or all the other people who you're sitting at this desk with, right? That's not how you're meant to live. You're meant to be doing what you want, whenever you want to. If I wanted to, I would go to Spain tomorrow, right? I wouldn't have to ask anyone for time off. I wouldn't have to talk to anyone. I would just go. That is how you're meant to live. You're meant to be able to travel and see the things you do and love every single day and not be trapped. And that's my passion, and YouTube enabled me to do that. So never, ever, ever wait, Peter. Start your YouTube today. Today. Hi, Kevin. Once you pay a mold fee, does the supplier keep that mold for your future orders? Do they own it, or does it belong to the buyer? It doesn't belong to the buyer, Irma, unfortunately, and that's actually pretty annoying. But 90% of the time, if you have any type of relationship or history with a manufacturer, you can weasel your way out of paying a molding fee. So I paid my manufacturer asked me to pay a $2,100 mold fee for a new product literally just yesterday, and I was like, listen. We've ordered X amount of units from you. We intend to order X more, right? We're not paying this molding fee. Don't charge us it. Let me talk to your manager if that's a problem, right? And we spoke to his manager, and I didn't pay the mold fee, and we still have a beautiful relationship where we're both profitable. So thanks for holding these Q&As, Kevin. Really appreciate the help. This group is squad goals. Yeah, dude. Of course. I mean, Q&As are fun for me, right? Because Amazon FBA and any type of entrepreneurial venture, it's such a valuable resource being able to talk to someone who's made every mistake before, right? So I've made every mistake before, and if I can ever save you guys from making those same mistakes, then my work here is done. Got my ASIN reinstated after a suspension, and it shows active in Seller Central, but it's not searchable when trying to find the product on the Amazon site. This is going on over a week now, and case has been escalated to the highest place, but I'm not hearing anything from Amazon Seller Central as to what the problem is or if and when it'll become searchable. What do you mean by searchable, Yakova? Yeah, there's always a way to ask. There's always a way to escalate. If this were me, and my product was not searchable, right, and it was causing me issues, I would call the product catalog team, and I would get a supervisor on the phone once an hour, every hour for the entire day. I would absolutely attack them and accost them, respectfully until I got my issue handled, because this type of stuff happens all the time. Just recently, actually, we transferred. So a friend and I have, I think I have eight active accounts now, and we let my friends stock out, and then we sent that same product to my to one of my accounts, and then we started that listing up with the same ASIN, right? And just something about how we did it without creating a listing from scratch. It wasn't indexing at all in Amazon's algorithm. So we actually had to ship out all those units, create a brand new listing in it in my account, ship them back in, and now we're back up to selling like 15 or 20 a day. And before, when we weren't indexing, even though we did everything normally and right, we were only selling like 1 a day, right? So sometimes you just have to figure it out, and Amazon's just this huge chaotic beast, but you will figure it out. And there's always escalation paths. So even if you can't fix it after talking to a supervisor, message me and we'll get it figured out. Should we be concerned about the environmental pollution policy in China? No, I don't think so. I mean, China does this type of stuff all the time. This isn't the first or the last time. They'll never stop their supplier manufacturer economy. It's a huge, huge part of their economy. They're trying to make a difference because there's so much pollution and stuff like that. But, it'll change, and the reflected increase of the pollution cost will travel down the infrastructure of the price infrastructure, and then we'll pass that increased price of manufacturing onto our end customers, and it'll be the same profit for us. It'll just take a little bit for it to kind of reach an equilibrium. Do you think you could do a step-by-step guide for creating a shipping plan? I know I struggle with preparing the shipment section. Yeah, I mean, I kind of did that in Module 2, Chris. I don't know if you've watched that yet, but if you have a specific question about it, I can definitely show you. But it's hard kind of to create a shipping plan from scratch just because, it's very sensitive data for the most part. But, I mean, I could probably find one of my consulting clients that would be willing for me to show, exactly what they're doing and all the addresses and, the name of their manufacturer and the type of products and things like that. So if enough people want it, then I'll do it, but it probably won't be in one of my accounts. I source my main product from Europe, and I'm bundling it with a small item from China. For now, I have both products and bundling them myself. Should I put a label on the polybag with product 1 made in Spain, product 2 made in China? The made in China is mainly for getting the product from China to America, right? Getting it through Chinese customs. So you have to have made in China printed on that product number 2 once it's getting out of China. Once it's in the USA and you have it, you don't really need to put made in China on it. I mean, you could just take it out of the packaging, put it together with your product made in Spain, and sell it as one unit. When doing initial giveaways, do you lower your selling price to limit your out-of-pocket loss and then later raise your product sale price to a preferred price? Yeah, this is a good question, William. I mean, how we run giveaways now is we'll start our product at break even. So maybe it's $14, $12, right? And then every day when we're doing giveaways, right, we're raising it $1 or we're raising it $2, and we'll start to see our organic sales. When it's $12, we have 20 a day organically. When it's $14, we have 18. When it's $18 or with $16, we have 16, right? And like as we raise our price, our organic sales go down pretty much in a linear fashion. So you want to price your product very low initially so you get a lot of organic sales, right? Because the lower your price is, unless you're a luxury item, the more sales you're generally going to get. And then you kind of raise your price up till you kind of hit that 50% profit margin or wherever you want to reach your equilibrium, and then you kind of keep it there. Are there any issues doing product research during Q4? Could the high volume possibly make bad products seem good? Yeah, definitely, Adam. I mean, but you thinking about that is being one step ahead, which is so important about being an Amazon FBA seller. You have to be one step ahead, right? Because when you see the fidgets, you're saying, wow, these numbers are crazy. But you have to look, okay, how many people have also seen this? How long has this been out? How much sales data has been, amassed for this? What time period has passed, right? To know that, okay, if everyone sees the anglized ruler or everyone sees the fidget, all of a sudden there's 500 different people out there who see this product doing $50,000 a month that costs $1 to make. You have to think to yourself, do I have enough time to compete in this without so much competition smothering it to where the supply is so high that the demand just can't possibly keep up? But to answer your question, yes, you want to be cognitive of Q4, right? A good way to look at the differential, Adam, is to look at camel sales charts, right? Because during Q4, you'll see the spike of BSR where it's super, super good, and then maybe Q1 of last year it goes down, and maybe it's not at a kind of a level that you want to see for Q1, 2, and 3. Hey Kevin, for product packaging, do I put my FN SKU on the main box that I have my designed product label on, or do I put my FN SKU on the surrounding protective packaging? You put your FN SKU on the box, correct? So Amazon, we in the past we've had beautiful packaging, right? That we designed for our products to be luxury items. And we wanted to protect our packaging. We didn't want it to have dings. We didn't want it to have scratches. We wanted it to be beautiful because the packaging itself was a selling point, right? We took beautiful product photos of it. It's an amazing product. And so we actually put poly bags on the outside of our packaging, but the packaging itself is where we had our printed barcode or our FN SKU, right? We just wanted to protect it to keep it pristine with a poly bag. So I'm going to jump back into YouTube really quick. Casey, I see the anglized ruler almost crushed my dreams. Yeah, I remember talking to you about that actually. What's up, Kevin? Getting the funds transferred to get your course and some capital for the first launch. Awesome, Rogue Seller. That's awesome. I'm excited to have you. Kev, do you have enough students from the UK to support for the launch? Blue checker, yeah, actually we do. Some of my most successful students are from the UK. We have a huge number of European success stories now, and it's really amazing to see it kind of become a global thing. Where is Kevin reading the question from Facebook? Shalom, I'm reading it from the Black Belt group. What is the official cutoff date for new sellers to be able to sell an FBA before Q4? I answered that before, Jacob. I think that it's only going to be restrictive of the section toys and games this year. I don't think that there's going to be a Q4 cutoff. What's a molding fee? It's like if you want to make like a cake pan in the shape of like Han Solo, they generally wouldn't make that. Like they just make the rectangular cake pan. So a mold fee would for them to create the actual metal piece in Han Solo shape that crushes the aluminum in the Han Solo cake pan formation. Did you or do you have a product that is FDA approved, and if so, how would you go about doing it at all? I actually I have a contact that I use for FDA approvals. It's kind of a loophole that we utilized for a while to get approved in beauty and grocery, but now that beauty and personal health are ungated, we're really only doing it for grocery now. FDA approvals, I don't personally handle myself, but I do have resources that are available to my students if they do need it. Han Solo cake pan, F all of you, I'm calling dibs. Yeah, I mean, Han Solo cake pans could be the next fidget. So now that you guys have all seen that, there's probably going to be like 20 Han Solo cake pans popping up, and you guys are going to make millions. Do you have to tell China supplier to put the made in China sticker, or do they do it themselves? Your supplier knows nothing. Think about it like this. Your supplier knows nothing. They don't care about anything at all. The only things that they do are what you tell them. If it was up to them, you'd pay them up front. There'd be no quality check, right? They have no idea you're sending it to Amazon. They just send it with no package, right? So you have to tell them, it's your responsibility to tell them every single thing that they need to do, right? More experienced manufacturers will be helpful, but it's your responsibility in the end to make sure that every single thing that needs to be done is actually getting done. Should I wait for my private label product to get here, or should I just start selling some of my wholesale product that I already have for my boutique? Yeah, Renee, I mean, I would start selling now. I never ever say that you should wait, right? Get started today. Entrepreneurship, it's so easy to rationalize yourself. I'll start after this next busy season at work. I'll start after, my kid gets out of preschool. I'll start after this or that. Your brain is so good at rationalizing for you to wait. Never, ever wait. Do it today. Get started today. The best time to get started always is right now. Do you have many grocery private label products? Casey, why are you asking questions in the YouTube chat? I know for a fact that you're part of the student group. Come to the Black Belt group. I'll answer your questions there. But to answer your question, I've only had success. I've really only launched actually one grocery product, and it was very successful. So it's definitely possible, and a very profitable niche if you know what you're doing. What is Amazon Q4? It's just the fourth quarter, Josh. So it's like it's December, November, and October. 10, 11, and 12th month. As for a lot of corporations, the year is split into 4 quarters, and that's all we mean by that. Most, 50%, about 50% of most successful Amazon sellers, especially if you're in the gift niche, happen during Q4, and the other 50% happens during the other 75% of the year. Why do so many people fail with Shopify? A lot of people fail with Shopify Giga because, you know, the beauty of Amazon FBA is that Amazon brings customers for you. If you do everything right, Amazon attracts the customers. You don't have to do any outside marketing besides Amazon PPC. Shopify is a little bit harder sometimes because you have to attract that traffic yourself. You have to, master Facebook ads. You have to, you have to make Facebook groups for your niche. You have to make YouTube videos about your product, right? You have to make, you have to do a lot more at the beginning to kind of attract customers to your Shopify store, when Amazon is doing kind of the difficult work, building the audience and building the loyal customer base for you. Can't wait to start. Still going through the module for the full course. Awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. Silly black belt asking questions on YouTube. Yeah, I know. Is inspection for our product a must? When don't do inspection? I always do inspections. Even with manufacturers I've been using since I first started, I still do inspections, and the reason for that is because QA managers change all the time, right? People get promoted, people move to different sections that you know and trust, and even though you have a good relationship with one person, right? It's not necessarily a sure thing that just because you have that relationship, everything's going to go smoothly. So I actually inspect every single time, and I mean, we have a resource for the students that's $99 for an inspection. So just trust me when I say this. It's worth it every single time. It's worth it. Always. Worth it, worth it, worth it. Inspection is worth it. So I have to tell them to put a sticker made in China on the box. Yeah, you do. I mean, they can print it on the box. It doesn't have to be a sticker, but yeah, it's your responsibility. You just think to yourself that the supplier knows nothing. It's all on me. So we're going to take like probably 2 or 3 more questions, guys, because my vocal cords are about to fail. I recently received an item from Amazon. The item box was packaged by Amazon in a padded envelope rather than a box. The item's box was received smashed. Is there a way that we can prevent Amazon from packaging this way to prevent damage to our item boxes? That's such a funny question, Irma, because one of my business partners and I actually have we have a fragile line of products, and we were noticing that Amazon was shipping these fragile products in envelopes. And we called and we were like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, these are obviously going to break. And basically, the chaos of Amazon is preventing us from guaranteeing that they use boxes every time. So we had to actually redesign our packaging, which we just did in the last 2 days, with a polystyrene foam insert, just so, even if they packaged it in like a Ziploc bag, it still wouldn't break now. So we don't really care. We're just going to do it and make sure that it's fine without Amazon knowing. I recently received an item from Amazon. The item box, oh, sorry, that's the same question. The made in China goes on the box or packaging of the product? Well, the box is the packaging of the product a lot of times, Edwards, right? Hey fam, does made in the USA help push more sales than a product made in China? Yeah, it can, but I mean, it's like an ebook. It's not going to make or break your product, but it definitely can help some people. All right, I'll answer a few questions in the Black Belt group, or in the official Kevin David group. When doing inspections, how much do you recommend them looking at? 10%, 50%, 100%? Well, I mean, there's like 6 Sigma standards where you can figure that out, but 10% is generally enough. You can tell a lot from 10%. Yeah, so I like to do around 10%. Well, Chris, the video is actually in the Black Belt group as well. So that's what I'm answering right now. So if you go to the Black Belt group, you can find the live video. I share it to the Black Belt group every time, just so we can ensure that the only people asking questions are full course members, just because I want to focus my time on all of you amazing people. How many listings can you have on Amazon? You can have infinite, pretty much. I know people doing $100 million on Amazon with companies, and they have thousands of listings. And then I know people who have one. So there's no main way, or there's no maximum number of listings you can have. Can you elaborate on the angle ruler? Yeah, I can elaborate. I mean, the anglized ruler was kind of a product that a lot of people were finding in a lot of the different groups, right? With Seth, with Tanner, with myself. And I kind of started to notice this trend, right? Because I never recommend, if a student brings me a product, right? Because I probably see 50 products a day. If a student brings me a product and they say, I'm going to do this, right? I give them the green light. I tell them, go ahead. This looks like a great product with all, right? If they give me all the data, they do their due diligence, I say, go ahead. If a month later somebody brings me that same product, I say, hey, it's up to you. I can't stop you, but another of our students is doing it. I never recommend that, multiple students do the same product. It was the same thing with the angleized ruler. A lot of people kind of all launched it at the same time, and there was really only one angle to approach the angleized ruler from a PPC perspective. And so everyone was advertising to the same words, and so the cost per clicks were very high, and the sales were just very low because there were so many different listings with the exact same thing, and it was kind of like the fidget situation. What's your biggest mistake on Amazon? My biggest mistake on Amazon. My biggest mistake on Amazon. Okay, my biggest mistake on Amazon was I purchased a series of photographs from a Chinese manufacturer without doing enough. Without doing enough due diligence, and it ended up that I purchased a photo that they had also sold to someone else, and I got my listing suspended for an intellectual property claim, and I was down for like a month. And that's when I learned all of the different things I learned about how to get suspended accounts back, all of the different escalation emails, the best way to go about creating a plan of action, right? So I learned a lot, but I was out of commission for a month, and that happened. My suspension happened the day before I left for a 4-month trip by myself to Brazil, to Carnival, Colombia, all of this stuff. So it was really stressful for me, but you live and you learn. Topical creams for body, face, or mouth. What do I need to do so I can get in that niche? So topical creams, you can message me. Topical creams changes a lot, right? Because it's a wildly profitable niche. Amazon in the past has had a $5,000 one-time fee to be approved for the topical cream. And what they do that for is to make sure that, all sellers are kind of serious and you're not getting a bunch of crap that people are spreading on their face. There's additional things you have to look at, right? But you can message me. I do have a resource to go about getting ungated and topical creams, but sometimes it can be expensive. All right, guys. Last question. How often will you be doing these Q&As? I just joined the group this week. So I try to do Q&As at least once a week, Karan. I also, if people are willing and people want to, I let the students create a poll in the Facebook group, right? And what the reason for creating the poll is I want to know what you guys want me to teach, right? So people make polls and say, hey, I want to learn, this about product research, or I want to learn exactly how to launch a product in the UK, or whatever the questions is, right? All of my students vote on those questions, and whichever question has the most votes, I'll create a video on. I'll add it to the course that week. So I try to answer everyone's questions via poll that way once a week. And I like to do a question and answer session where I literally answer every single one of all of you amazing Ninja students' questions, right? And so I try to do that once a week. And so that is it for this Thursday, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I always enjoy coming on here and answering you guys' questions. So we will definitely see you guys next week. And I hope you guys all have a good weekend.